Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to talk about what do you do when you have a door that when you open it and close it, it touches. See how it's touching right up in there? As you can see, at one time somebody did cut the door or file it down or whatever they did, but they didn't cut it straight. It's pretty crooked. So as you can see, it's touching right up against there. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take the door off the hinges first. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this hinge pin out here, and we're going to take that pin out right there, and we're going to take this door into the garage, and then we're going to cut this off right up in here. All right, so let's get this door off, and we'll continue in the garage. Okay, now there's two ways you can remove the hinge pin. One way is you just hit this pin up, and you push it out like this, which is what we're going to do on this one. But the lower one is very tight, and this one here will not come out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it off on the other side to get this off so we don't do any damage. All right? Okay, so on this one we're just going to remove these screws right here, and we're going to take these out instead of damaging the door or the hinge itself. All right, so we're going to unscrew all three of these screws. We'll pull the top one out, and then we're going to continue in the garage. Okay, so now that we're in the garage and we're getting ready to do this job, these are some of the tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a piece of wood with a straight edge, right? You're going to need two pieces of wood actually, one for the bottom and one for the top. All right, we're going to need a circular saw with a fine blade to make the cut. We're going to need electrical tape or any kind of painter's tape. We're going to need a ruler, a pencil, and these clamps are to hold the wood in place while we're working. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we know that this door here was not cut properly. You can see where somebody tried to either plane it down or whatever they did, but they didn't do a good job on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/4 of an inch off of right here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to measure from the bottom of the door all the way up to here, so we make sure we have a straight line all the way across. So we're going to take a 1/4 inch here. This door is 80 inches, so we're actually going to cut it down to 79 3/4 inches. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take tape like this, and we're going to put tape on here to minimize the chipping and the splitting of the wood itself. Now this door is a solid door. It's not hollow, so this one is going to be a little easier than a hollow core door to cut down. Okay, but this is how you would do the hollow core door as well. Okay, first thing we'll do is we'll put the tape on here and cover this whole thing up so we don't scratch the existing door, and then we're going to do the exact same thing on the bottom. We're going to put tape on the bottom as well to minimize the splintering that will take place. All right, so enough talking. Let's get set up and let's get this job done. I'm just going to put a little bit more tape on here just so we don't have any scratches on the door itself. Okay, so next thing we're going to do now is we're going to measure up from the bottom of the door. We're going to measure up, and it's going to be 79 3/4. So that's what we're going to do. 79 3/4. $79 3/4. And 79 3/4. Okay? Next, we're going to make a line from here to here, because remember, there's not going to be straight on the top because somebody had already planed this down and they planed it crooked. So we're going to make it straight from the bottom to the top. And now we'll just run our line. Okay? Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is going to take our saw and we're going to put our saw right on that line, and we're going to cut it right on here. All right, let me just show you real quick what I'm going to do. The way we're going to get that done is we're going to take our saw, we're going to turn our saw over, and we're going to measure from back here to where the blade is going to cut. So we know that the blade is going to cut right here, so we're going to measure, and it's exactly 3 1/2 inches. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to measure 3 1/2 inches from this line to this line. Okay? We're going to put our wood up here for now. And I'm going to measure to make sure we have 3 1/2 inches. Okay, 3 1/2. 3 1/2. We're going to take our second piece of wood, come underneath the bottom, put it up underneath here, okay? We're going to clamp it now so it doesn't move. Okay, we're going to put that there. We'll do the exact same thing on this side over here. Now the reason we're putting the wood on this way is, remember in the back it had the hanger pieces on the back? We normally would put the wood this way, but it's going to interfere with those pieces that are on here. So that's why we're putting this underneath the bottom, like this, okay? Now we know it's going to be 3 1/2 inches. And that's 3 1/2 inches there. We're going to put our other clamp right here. And now that gives us a nice smooth area for our saw to run along here and make that a perfectly straight cut. All right, so let's do that. We're going to measure one more time to make sure it's correct. 3 1/2. 3 1/2. Okay, so we're exactly 3 1/2. Next we're going to take our saw. We're going to adjust the depth of the saw itself. Okay. Okay, and now we're going to make our cut. Okay. All right, let's take our tape off. Let's go back inside and make sure this is ready to go. Nice and clean, nice straight line. Okay, let's go back inside and let's hang it up. Okay, so now we have our door hung back up, and as you can see, it opens and closes perfectly, just the way it's supposed to. No more binding or sticking or anything like that. Just make sure that you cut the very minimum off first. You don't want to cut it too far, and then the opening, it doesn't fit properly in the opening. So remember, cut it just a little bit each time, and you can always cut it numerous times, but you can't put wood back on if you cut it too short. All right, that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.